Every day, the first thing we should prioritize is asking the Lord to bless us. Why? So that we can in turn be a blessing to others. We should also pray for protection from the evil that may come our way. As we wake up each day, we don't know what challenges or troubles have been designed to try to bring us down. By asking God to keep us from the evil of the day, we proactively seek His guidance and protection. It is important to choose daily fellowship with God. This means making a conscious effort to spend time with Him, seeking to learn what pleases Him and avoiding involvement in anything associated with darkness or things that hold no true value. Walking with God should be a lifelong commitment. We need to examine our lives and ask ourselves if there is anything we are willing to be fully committed to for the rest of our lives. Sometimes, there may be things to which we are currently devoted that consume our time and energy but shouldn't have the highest priority. God desires to have first place in our lives and calls for a wholehearted commitment. According to God, the most important thing is that we are in His presence above everything else. He wants us to know Him, to have a deep and intimate relationship with Him. It means that when we wake up in the morning, we should acknowledge God and express our desire to know Him more and love Him more. Even if it turns out to be the best day we've ever had, we should prioritize learning to love and know God more. God considers that day a success if we make an effort to deepen our relationship with Him. On the contrary, if we have a great day but fail to acknowledge God and prioritize our relationship with Him, that day is seen as a failure. God's perspective is that getting to know Him and loving Him more is of utmost importance. It's important to understand that if we don't think about God at all and still have a successful day, achieving things like making a sale, getting a job, or going on a date, it is considered a wasted day from God's perspective. He wants us to prioritize Him above all else. Each day we should seek God's blessings and ask for protection from the evil that may come our way. Choosing daily fellowship with God, learning what pleases Him, and avoiding darkness are essential. Walking with God requires a lifelong commitment, with Him having first place in our lives. Our focus should be on getting to know Him and loving Him more, regardless of the outcomes of our days. God considers a successful day one where we prioritize our relationship with Him, and neglecting Him is seen as a failure. No matter what accomplishments or successes we experience in a day, if we forget about God and fail to acknowledge Him, it is considered a wasted day from His perspective. The most important thing is to truly know the Lord and develop a deep relationship with Him. Unfortunately, we often make the mistake of not inviting God into our daily experiences. We tend to believe that we can handle things on our own, whether it's in our dating life, work, or pursuing our dreams. In doing so, we unintentionally exclude God from our lives. The question we need to ask ourselves is whether we will put our faith in our own wisdom, power, and resources, or if we will trust in God, allowing Him to fight our battles and relying on His power and provision in our lives. When we make the choice to trust in God, we need to understand that He desires to fight on our behalf. He wants to go before us and be with us in every battle we face, offering His help and support in our times of trouble and difficulty. Regardless of the challenges or battles we may be currently facing, we are encouraged to seek the Lord and His power. He willingly provides us with His strength and assistance when we call out to Him in prayer. Prayer is one of the greatest weapons of our faith and should be our initial response, rather than a last resort, when we encounter times of trouble. God wants us to know that He desires us to experience the fullness of His presence, not just every day, but in every moment of our lives. We have the opportunity to tap into His presence if we truly desire it. This is the promise He gives us, assuring us of His presence when we earnestly seek after Him. It is important to recognize that in life, we may go through deep waters and face storms. However, we can find comfort in knowing that we will not be overcome by these challenges. God will provide us with the strength and support to navigate through difficult times. When we go into battle, whether it be against external circumstances or internal struggles, we can be certain that God is there with us, protecting us and ensuring that we will not be destroyed. One of the greatest truths found in the Bible is that if God is on our side, there is no force or opposition that can ultimately prevail against us. Jesus extends an invitation to all of us, as recorded in Matthew 11. He says, "Come to me," emphasizing the importance of seeking Him. Jesus invites those who are weary and burdened, those carrying the weight of their struggles and challenges. His promise is to provide rest. He offers to teach us, assuring us that He is humble and gentle at heart. In Him, we can find true rest for our souls. Many will experience what it's like when you find yourself in the desert, facing battles that have persisted for a long time and may continue. God's presence will be with you. He will protect you and grant you the rest you need. You will discover that having God's presence is sufficient. You don't necessarily need to have all the answers or a complete understanding. As long as you feel and know that God is with you, you will be at peace. To ensure that we don't miss out on God's blessings when we seek Him, we can turn to the familiar guidance found in Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6. These verses direct us to trust in the Lord with all our hearts and to not rely solely on our own understanding. They encourage us to acknowledge God in all areas of our lives, seeking His direction. The word trust goes beyond convenience and easy situations, encompassing all aspects of our lives, both significant and mundane. We are called to trust God on familiar paths we have walked before and on unknown roads where there seems to be no clear direction. Even in the midst of uncertainty and uncharted territory, we are to trust Him. The term acknowledge carries a deeper meaning of establishing a profound and intimate relationship, truly knowing and understanding someone in the deepest sense. This is the kind of relationship that God desires to have with each of us. Therefore, our life's purpose should be to seek God in every area of our lives. We should seek Him when we are unsure of what to do, as well as when we have a clear understanding. We should invite Him into our conversations and daily lives. Our aim is to cultivate a relationship with God that surpasses yesterday's victories or achievements. Today's successes should not be determined solely by our own understanding or past achievements. Even when we think we have the answers to the problems we face, it is crucial to go to God and place our trust in Him. The faith we had yesterday may not provide us with the confidence we need today unless we stay connected to God. Why? Because God desires to bless our lives and have His best for us. He wants to place His hand of protection, presence, rest, hope, and all the good things He has in store for us. In 2 Chronicles 16 verse 9, it is stated that the eyes of the Lord search the entire earth, looking for those whose hearts are fully committed to Him. God is actively seeking individuals, churches, and communities that are willing to wholeheartedly commit themselves to Him so that He can bless them and pour out His best upon them. He is seeking after us because He loves us and desires to give us His very best. We have a responsibility to seek God, but we must also recognize that He is seeking us. He loves us and wants to bless us abundantly. We should do what is within our power to address the things in our lives that we can change. But when we reach a point where we can do nothing about a situation, we should cast our cares upon God and trust Him completely. It is perfectly all right to enjoy our lives even in the midst of problems. We can find joy and contentment while God is working on our behalf. It is not that nothing is happening. It's just that we are not the ones solely responsible for making things happen. Therefore, whatever challenges you may be facing, don't waste another day in excessive sadness, grief, depression, or discouragement, especially when there is nothing you can do about it. Jesus paid a price for us to enjoy life abundantly, to the fullest, and overflowing with blessings. We are called to live in that abundance and not be weighed down by the burdens we cannot control. Trust in God's provision and His ability to work in your life, and embrace the joy and fulfillment that He offers. It's not useful to spend our days consumed by sadness and mourning, especially when God has given us so much to be grateful for. Instead, we should learn to shift our focus towards the good things in life. Each one of us may have reasons to be upset if we choose to dwell on them, but we have the power to choose what we focus on. What we magnify in our lives is determined by what we give our attention to and talk about. While it is important to address and deal with problems that arise, we should not fixate on them. Rather, we should direct our thoughts towards the possibilities and positive aspects of our lives. Hebrews 12 verse 2 encourages us to look away from anything that distracts us and fix our gaze on Jesus. He is the one who initiates and perfects our faith. So, instead of excessively grieving over the negative aspects of life, let us learn to celebrate the good. Regardless of our starting point in life, we have the potential for a good and fulfilling finish. It does not matter where we began. What matters is the trajectory and outcome we are heading towards. Let us shift our thinking and change our focus. Surely, each one of us can find something in our lives worth celebrating. And let us also be excited about the things that are yet to be accomplished, knowing that God is actively working on them. By adopting a mindset of celebration and anticipation, we can experience a renewed sense of joy and hope.